So name,
Jeanette Linda Shirtliff.
your educational background.
My education is I have a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies, and I've got a master's degree as an education specialist.
So you still work,
Yes, I do.
and you have children, right?
Yes, I do.
Ages.
My ages are 35 for my daughter and 27 for my son.
Where were they born, raised, and where did they raise?
Courtney was born in Newport Beach. Bubba was born in Riverside. Bubba is my son. And they were raised in Lake Elsinore, California.
All right, now we're gonna go to sound. So what records did you listen to?
Oh, the Beatles, probably number one. Beatles, The Doors, Led Zeppelin, Iron Butterfly, Hendrix,
Okay.
Stones. Yeah.
Um, what kind of player did you have, and where was it in your home?
I had a 45 and a 33 little miniature player in my bedroom, and then my parents finally bought a stereo system about the time that Magical Mystery Tour came out for the Beatles.
Was there any kind of music you weren't supposed to listen to?
No, my parents never said anything about my music.
So there weren't many parental limitations on that.
No, not at all.
Where'd you get your records?
I buy them.
At the local store?
Yeah,
or-
at a local, they had, I can't even remember the names of the places. They were like the Tower. It was Record Tower, I think. And there were some really older school ones, and you would go there and shop. And they were record stores.
Yeah. How'd you find out about the artists that you listened to?
The radio.
Okay.
And we only had AM then. We only had AM radio. We didn't have FM.
What did your parents originally think about record players and records and all that?
I think they were fascinated by it because they owned a restaurant and a nightclub, and they were always used to live music. So to be able to have something that you could listen to over and over again, I think they were quite fascinated because my parents loved Sinatra and that whole, those guys.
Mm-hmm. The Rat Pack.
The Rat Pack. Thank you.
How did like your children, me and Courtney, experience music or sound recordings different than you guys had?
Oh, they had it on video. A lot. They had a lot more music on TV. They had a lot more. They had cassettes. Okay, and then eventually with computers, when my son was born, computers, and they had disk drives. So they didn't have vinyl, what we call now vinyl.
So you mentioned radio. So what do you remember your experiences with radio?
I loved it. I loved it. I loved when the music would come on and you dance around your room and get your brush and act like you were a superstar. I mean, I'm telling you, carpool karaoke, it was called bedroom karaoke.
So you were mostly a music listener. Did you listen to talk or any other entertainment?
Yeah, I love the Ed Sullivan Show. That's the first place that the Beatles appeared. I liked the Monkees. I liked Telly Savalas. He was in Kojak. Real old school. Leave It to Beaver. Been watching those ones again. Love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. So.
When were they on? Did you ever have to stay up late or?
No, TV always ended at a time that you were allowed to. TV or radio. Radio would end at a decent time. The only time that I remember it being off time was when that whole Orson Welles thingy. Yeah, I remember them talking about that. But no, radio was pretty much there was a cutoff time because people had to sleep.
Do you remember anything about the early radio commercials?
Yeah, a lot of cigarettes.
Oh wow.
A lot of cigarette commercials. The Marlboro Man. Everybody wanted. He was so handsome. And yeah, everybody smoked. I mean, you were the Rat Pack. It didn't matter. John Wayne, they all smoked. So yeah, it was a lot of cigarettes and detergent.
Do you remember any public concern about these radio commercials?
Never.
Never? Okay. Do you remember any educational radio programs?
Yes. It was called, it was the one about marijuana. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. It's black and white, and it was like killer weed. That was the only one. Yeah, now that's it. That was the commercial that they used for public service.
Okay.
We were all gonna die if we smoked weed.
What technical problems did you experience with your radio set?
Uh, Not knowing how to like change a tube because they had tubes back then. It wasn't batteries, and if it plugged in the wall, then the tubes would go out. It's like having a light bulb filament go out. Same thing. So if your tube went out, you were SOL.
What was it like when FM radio became available?
Oh, it was exciting because that was in like I think I was like 15, 16 years old, going to the beach all the time and be able to play FM radio and have it less commercial and more music was fun.
How do you think radio influenced your life as a child?
Oh, I think that music was a huge part of my life to begin with, but once I hit an era where I could listen to other forms of music besides classical because I grew up in private girls' school all my life, then it was obvious to me that it became a universal language, literally, that just crosses borders that, I don't know, I love music. I don't know who doesn't.
We're going to move on to TV.
Okay.
What was it like when TV became available?
Exciting.
What were your first TV programs and like what were your experiences like?
Okay, I remember The Honeymooners. I remember Harrigan. And I remember this stupid song. I don't remember. It was this guy. He was, I think, Irish. I don't know. It was Harrigan was the name of that one. Leave It to Beaver, Lassie. Those were all my favorites. Loved it. I would it was so exciting. And then got to the point where my father and I would sit down and we would watch the Friday night fights when they came on. And we would eat sardines with mustard. I don't know what is wrong with me because I would never eat sardines now. They're disgusting.
How much did the first TV set cost that you guys got? Do you remember?
I'm thinking around $50.
Oh, wow.
It was black and white, and it was actually in a. It wasn't very big, but I'm thinking $50. But we were like the only person I remember having one, and I only got to use it on weekends because I would come home from boarding school. So I didn't have a lot of TV.
How old were you?
I was probably. First one that I remember, I'm thinking around 8.
Okay.
7.
What was the reception like?
Horrible.
Horrible?
It was, yeah, those commercials that you see where they're all acting like this didn't happen. It really did. We had tinfoil, you had hangers, and you would like, sometimes it was like if you stood in a certain place and touched it and just stood there literally in a pose, then everybody else could watch whatever was on it. So it was pretty bad.
How many channels did you originally?
We had 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11, and 13. 13 came later. I think we only had originally 5 or 6.
5 or 6 channels.
Mm-hmm. No, like all those other numbers. No anything else.
No cable.
Right, nothing.
Let's see. What do you remember about the corporate sponsors of TV shows?
I liked their commercials. They were entertaining, but I'd never seen a commercial before. I had seen commercials on TV. Marlboro Guy was cool. Even Miller Beer was cool. Yeah, they were cool. I mean, now I look back at it, and I don't know. It's a different world now in advertising, but they were cool. They were fine. They sold their product. They did their job. And they did it with not offending me or my parents or anybody else.
So what factors helped you decide in switching to either a cable or a satellite provider?
My husband, because there's nothing old electronically in our house. But it is nice. I mean, he knows what he's talking about. So if he wants to upgrade, we upgrade.
So we're going to go to cinema. What were your first movie-going experiences like, and how are they different from today?
Oh, God. My first remembered movie-going experience, my stupid cousin Cecilia, I love her dearly. She's still alive. But she took me with her husband and the kids, because she was babysitting me, and she took me to see Psycho at the drive-in theater. Okay, it was like 4 years before I took a shower. Okay, I did bathe, but everything had to be open, and I had to be able to call my mom and dad. That's my first experience at the movie theater.
Let's see. What do you remember about the excitement surrounding Gone with the Wind?
Uh, to this day, I can watch that. I even was showing it for years to my social studies class, which is eighth grade, because it's so just so romantic and I don't know. It's just a great story, and it gives a lot of history. Some of it true, some of it not, but all based on truth.
Were you forbidden to watch anything? Any films?
Um. Oh, the name of that movie that I didn't is Reefer Madness. That's what I was thinking of. That probably would have been one of them, but they made us watch it in high school, I think, or somebody did. But otherwise, um, no. My parents. I mean, pornography obviously wasn't big back then. They would have never proved anything like that. But movies started to get racier, like with the whole Annette Funicello, and I can't remember his name. They Paul Anka, I think. Uh, that was the Beach Blanket Bingo series. Okay, that was big because they were in bikinis. So yeah, and even women wearing pants. The first person or the first woman I actually think to wear pants on an open stage was Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh wow.
And yeah, that was a big, huge no no. Even if they wore like a pant, they wore these big dress things that really kind of is almost like we would wear leggings, but they weren't allowed pants. And I think Mary Tyler Moore was the first.
What films were the most influential for you?
Obviously, Psycho, not such a good way. In my To Kill a Mockingbird,
Okay.
definitely To Kill a Mockingbird, and also the one with Algernon, Flowers for Algernon, um, and that would be it. I think those are two, but definitely To Kill a Mockingbird.
And how do you think movies have influenced your family and children?
Oh, I think they've been a huge influence on their life because they were born into it. They didn't get to experience not having it prior to having it. So I think that a lot of their roundedness or jagged edges could have been stimulated and possibly influenced by movies and by video and all this that's out there. But I also know I raised two very, very intelligent children who can decipher what is true and what is not true, or what will affect them in a way that's good, and other people too. They're kind people.
How was our experience maybe different than yours?
Because you had it from birth. You had it to begin. I remember the first time I stuck you on my compact computer with the Sesame Street game where you had to get frickin' Ernie to splash in the tub. It was amazing to see an 18-month-old child be able to manipulate a keyboard once you figured it out. I was just, yeah, that's what you were born into. You were born into that whole thing, and it's wonderful. I mean, social media, wow.
Sweet. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.